Welcome back to Bazaar Morning Call. Well, our research team is standing by to give you the list of top 10 stocks that you need to watch out for. And there's plenty from the FMCG space in terms of earnings. Tata Consumer is first on our radar. Mangalam is here to tell us how the numbers look. Mangalam, morning.
Good morning. So Tata Consumer has reported a good set of numbers. The street was anticipating a good set of numbers itself. Near double-digit revenue growth that the company reported. On the top line, 3,800 crores as the expectations were. But the EBITDA came in a little higher, 572 crores versus street expectations of 550 crores. That was led largely by the international margins, which expanded beyond expectations. The net profit on a reported basis were lower than expectations because of an exceptional loss of 91.5 crores. Even if you look at the segments, India overall revenue grew near double digits, higher end of the expected range. Foods business grew 13%. The street was working with a number of 10 to 15%. Packaged beverages grew just around 4%, but that was more than made up for by Nourishco, which grew 34% as against expectations of 25% as well. Growth businesses are doing well for them, and they did allude to, some updates on the merger with Capital Foods and Organic India as well, where they said complete integration will happen in 100 days. All of this should bode well for the stock.
Okay, bode well for the stock. Thanks a lot for that. Mangalam, so Tata Consumer opens in the green, but let's hop across to Vivek, who's here to tell us about Power Grid. Morning, Vivek.
Well, good morning. So Power Grid delivered a steady set of numbers, marginally beating our poll. So first up, when you're looking at the revenues, higher by a little over 2.5%, coming in at the 11,550 crore mark. EBITDA is up almost over 3%, beating our poll, coming in at over 10,210 crores. Margins quite strong, over 88%. Profitability higher by 10%. Now, when you're talking about the company this time around, the key thing to watch out for is the fact that the company has secured significant orders as far as TBCB bidding is concerned. And also remember, at the end of Q2, the company actually increased its capex guidance for FY24. They've now increased it to over 10,000 crores. So that's another important thing to watch out for when the company holds its analyst call, whether there is any increase over there at the end of Q3 as well. But I expect the stock to open in the green today.
All right, Vivek, thanks very much for that. That's Power Grid, but Manappuram Finance is next on our list. Abhishek has got details. Abhishek, morning.
Morning, Prashant. So in terms of calculation, it shows that net interest margin is at 10-quarter high and the gold tonnage is at 7-year low as the company is moving away from gold financing into other areas of lending as well. So gold loan share is down to 51.4% when compared to 58.4% in the same quarter last year and about 53.4% in the previous quarter. Gold tonnage is at 7-year low of 58 tons when compared to 59.4 tons in the previous quarter. AM growth is robust at 26.7% YOY and about 3.7% sequentially. Calculation shows that the net interest margin is at 10-quarter high of 15.4%, and this is on account of the fact that yields are super impressive for third quarter in a row. The Asirvad MFI strong loan growth over there, 33.6% growth YOY and about 5.6% sequentially. Slight hiccup in the overall asset quality as gross NPA ratio is inched up to 2% versus 1.6% in the previous quarter. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot for that. Well, Lupin also came out with a good set of numbers. Could be one of the big stocks of the day. Fortis Healthcare is also in focus. Ekta is here to give us the lowdown. Ekta, morning.
Morning. Well, very good numbers which have come in for Lupin. Lupin revenue was up around 20-odd%. Margins came in at 20% versus 12.3%. It's a multi-quarter high for Lupin in terms of margins, and the street is definitely going to like that. Profit of over 600-odd crores this quarter. The Q3 US sales $212 million versus estimates of $202 to $205 million. India was up 13.4% year on year, so that really came back. And the EMEA business, which is basically the Middle East markets also, was up 36% on a year-on-year basis. The only fly in the ointment, the stock is already trading at very punchy valuations of 35 times FY26 PE. Fortis, you could probably see a little bit of red on the stock. The revenue was up around 8%. Hospitals did well. It was up close to 10% year on year with a 10.6% increase in the average revenue per occupied bed. Occupancy came off because they added beds this quarter. Margin 17% versus 17.7% year on year. That was brought down mainly because of the diagnostic margins, and the profit was higher on a year on year basis.
Thanks, Ekta, for that. Let's focus on Mankind Pharma. Abhishek is here to tell us. Abhishek, large trade expected?
Well, yes, Nigel, Mankind Pharma sources do tell us that there is sale of equities by Sheetal Arora, Arjun Juneja and Pooja Juneja, who are all part of promoter and promoter group of the company. So the brokers are to the issue Kotak Securities as well as IFL. Floor price is at 2,050 per share, which is at a discount of 3.7% to yesterday's closing price. Now, the offer size is about 1,330 crore, which forms about 1.62% of the equity that is there in the company. 90 days lock-in is there for these sellers. So after this sell down, they'll have to wait for 90 days for further stake that they intend to pare down. Back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. Well, I'm also looking out for Apollo Tyres this morning. I'm going with green on the stock because the numbers were decent. They were actually higher than some analyst estimates. So revenue growth of 2.7% is what we saw. Motilal had estimated 6,350 crores of revenues. The company came out with 6,595 crores of revenues, so better on the top line. EBITDA went up 32.2%. In any case, most of these tyre companies have done well on the operational front this time around because of lower crude as well as rubber prices. Margins have come in at 18.3% versus estimates of 17.6%, while net profits are up about 78%. The only thing is that Apollo Tyres has underperformed its peers like CEAT and JK Tyres on the top line front. So while Apollo Tyres has barely grown 2.7%, its peers like CEAT have grown 8.8%, JK has grown at 3.4%. So in that sense, there's a little bit of underperformance, but standalone, the numbers are looking good, so going with green over there.
Okay, all right. And let's get in Upasana. Upasana, tell us how was Cummins India as well as JK Paper?
Well, Nigel, coming to Cummins first, the company reported a strong Q3 beat on all fronts. Despite the higher base, the company has reported highest ever quarterly profit and revenue on the back of strong domestic demand. Now, coming to revenue, it saw an uptick of almost 16% on YoY basis. Margins stood at 21.2% versus 18.9% on YoY basis, while we were working with a poll number of somewhere around 17%. PAT also saw an uptick of almost 26%, and the company says that the upcoming quarters are likely to see mixed demand for CPCB2 and CPCB4 products. And exports is where the stress lies. The company says that the export in near term may be impacted due to global economic uncertainties. Now, coming to JK Paper, we are going with the red on this. The company has reported a weak Q3, mainly because of the higher input cost. That's the reason the operational performance stands muted. Revenue saw an uptick of about 3% on YoY basis. Margins stood at 25% versus 38% on YoY basis, and net profit was also stressed, down almost about 29%.
All right. Thanks very much, Upasana, for that. Wellspun Enterprises is the next one that we're focused on. Vivek is here with more details on this one. Vivek, morning.
Well, Wellspun is in focus. A good order win that the company has bagged, and this will add significantly to its kitty as far as its order book position is concerned. The company has emerged as the lowest bidder. Now, this is for a BMC project, and the company is going to build a water treatment plant. The total contract value is a little over 4,120 crore. The project is to be designed and constructed by the company within the next 4 years. The project bid value, remember, includes both the construction as well as the O&M part. So the construction value is 2,250 crore. The remainder is the O&M value. Order book, it's just around 8,500 crore. So this order is quite significant. FY24 order inflow guidance was close to 6,000 crore. So this particular project win will go a long way in helping the company meet its guidance.
All right, thanks a lot for that. Lot of stocks in focus. Here's a quick recap. Stocks with positive news flow: Tata Consumer, Power Grid, Manappuram Finance, Lupin, Mankind Pharma, Apollo Tyres, Cummins and Wellspun Enterprises. While stocks with some negative news flow today: Fortis Healthcare and JK Paper.